Welcome back, Pokemon trainers. Professor Chaz here. The lab coat's on back order, and it's time for this week's Pokemon Omega Ruby team building video for the rotation battles in the free battle in battle spot. This is our last week of the rotation battles, giving a chance for the last two Pokemon that have not yet been used, a chance to try to win the green glow of victory as we round out this little bit of a series we've been doing here. So the Pokemon that have not yet been used are Snapper the Totodile, my starter from the Johto region, and Burrow the Ninjask, one of the Pokemon from my Hoenn team. I was thinking Hoenn and Sinnoh. I always get those two names mixed up. But those are the two Pokemon that have not yet been used, and I'm going to be including 4 more Pokemon from my collection. Try to get these guys some wins, or at least give them the best chance they have to get some wins in the final week of the rotation battles. So with all that being said, let's get right into the team builder right now, and I'll show you the ideas for movesets, held items, and abilities, and all the strategies that go with them. So let's begin. So here he is, Snapper the Totodile, the first of the previously unused Pokemon we're taking into the team this week. He is a mild Pokemon, which is an increase to the special attack while dropping defense, so not the best nature that a Totodile could have, but it is what he has, we're going to work with it. His ability is Torrent, so his water moves will be a little more powerful if he's at low HP, and we went with the Assault Vest for him here. It's going to increase the special defense at the cost of preventing him from using anything other than like a direct attack move. Can't use anything for setup, like for example if he had Dragon Dance, or he did have Scary Phase, we can't use that with the Assault Vest. So we decided for the moveset, as you'll see, starting with Waterfall, we just went all out attacks with this, because of course the Assault Vest will prevent anything else from being used. So Waterfall, if we do manage to outspeed the opponent, could get a flinch, and it is stab, so that's not too bad. He is more super trained for physical attack than special, as you'll see, despite the nature. And we didn't have a Dragon move for the team this week, and I had to replace Scary Face with something, so I thought, let's just go with Dragon Claw. It could be super effective against any legendary dragons we happen to come across, and he also has Rock Tomb and Icy Wind. We didn't really focus on physical or special attack, well, mostly physical attack, but you'll see Icy Wind is on there as well. Both the Rock Tomb and Icy Wind, although they're only 95% accurate, they always drop the speed of the target when we hit. So we could possibly slow the opponent down and then outspeed for a Waterfall and potential flinch on a following turn. For the super training, we maxed out his speed because he's not super fast, he's an unevolved Totodile, but we get the speed up as high as we could. It's at 172 at level 100. Plus, after some speed drops from the Rock Tomb or Icy Wind, Snapper might be faster than the opponent and getting some flinches. We put a little more into the physical defense than special defense, knowing that we're going to give him the Assault Vest to increase the special defense as it is, and we dropped the remainder of the super training into his attack stat to try to get it as high as possible based on the other super training that we already gave him. So the next Pokemon that hasn't yet been used, as I mentioned, is Burrow the Ninjask. He is a lonely Pokemon, which is kind of sad, but fortunately it increases his attack stat while dropping defense. Defense is not that good on a Ninjask to begin with, so that's not too bad of a stat to lose points in for gaining an attack boost, which is definitely nice. They have pretty good attack stat. Their best stat is speed, of course, but attack is right up there as well. The natural ability of a Ninjask is Speed Boost. At the end of each turn, we are going to get a nice speed increase using that ability. And we went with the Lychee Berry, which is going to increase his attack stat if his HP gets down pretty low. And chances are, Burrow will not really survive many hits to get down to the low HP, but you'll see we have something in mind to get his HP low enough to, make him eat that berry. So starting with the moveset, we have Bug Bite, which has a nice ability of eating a held berry by the opponent and gaining the ability for the Pokemon itself. So if they have anything like a Salac Berry or basically any stat boosting berry like that, we can steal it, gain the ability, and suddenly Burrow has some boosted stats with that. If they don't have a berry, of course, it is just simply a stab attack, pretty decent power as well, 60 damage. It's kind of nice how, kind of going off track but it's nice how they've allowed Caterpie and Weedle, and I think Wurmple as well, to learn Bug Bite. So those Pokemon might actually have a chance competitively with that attack. Not really though, of course. Anyway, back on track. We have Aerial Ace as well, another nice stab move. Also the same base power as Bug Bite, 60 for both. And always will hit the target despite any double teams or minimizes or whatever else the opponent might want to set up with. Now, I did have Confide on Burrow from the last week that I brought him but didn't bring him into the battles. I thought, why don't I just go with Struggle Bug? It is a stab move, and much like Confide, it always lowers the special attack of the target when we hit, and it also gets damage off as well. It's not just a stat dropping move, so I decided let's just go with Struggle Bug. And the final attack is Substitute. It's going to allow him to survive a single hit per the turn he uses it. Chances are he will be faster than the opponent thanks to his natural high speed plus that speed boost. so we can get that substitute up, survive a hit. It's going to lower his HP every time we use it, but that's where that Lychee Berry is going to come in handy. He can drop his own HP down pretty low. Once he's hidden behind a substitute for I think the 3rd time, that should kick in that Lychee Berry, boosting his attack stat nicely. Suddenly Bug Bite and Aerial Ace are going to hit a little bit harder. For the super training for our Ninjask, we put everything we had into speed and attack, dropped the remainder into special defense. Not that it's going to make a difference really, but we had to put it somewhere, and why not go there? So, the first of the previously victorious Pokemon from past weeks on the rotation battles is going to be Witwicky, our Chandelure. He is a Impish Pokemon, which is an increase to his, let me see here, defense stat, dropping special attack. Really not the best, but oh well, we're gonna work with it. The ability is Flash Fire, so if the opponent goes for a Fire-type attack, potentially against our Ninjask, I can rotate up into Witwicky, gain a nice boost to our Fire-type attacks, and rendering the Fire-type attack incoming completely worthless. And I've done this many times before. The held item is Air Balloon. As I've mentioned in previous weeks, if you send a Pokemon with Air Balloon into the initial part of the rotation battle, but in one of the 2 rear spots, it doesn't show the opponent that they're holding the Air Balloon. Normally, if they see the Pokemon come out of the Pokeball, it does mention, Witwicky floats in the air with its Air Balloon. But we are going to have that nice little bit of a sneaky strategy. The opponent is not going to know when we rotate Witwicky into the active spot that he is immune to ground attacks until he takes another hit, which will pop that Air Balloon. For the moveset, we've starting with Flamethrower, and it's going to be a nice stab attack, a chance to burn, plus if we do get the Flash Fire boost, it's going to be a little bit more powerful. We also have Shadow Ball for another stab move, could have a chance to lower the special defense of the target, and Will-O-Wisp is on here to get the burn on the enemy and lower their attack stat by half. It's going to help with our less defensive Pokemon such as, you'll see, Snapper and Burrow, of course. And since we do have the Assault Vest on Snapper, increasing special defense, a burn to lower the opponent's physical attack would be a pretty good way to go, trying to keep our Totodile defended on both sides. We also have Safeguard on Witwicky. We don't have another Safeguard user for the week, of course. We only need one, so I think the opponent might have a team that could go for some status effects. We can bring Witwicky in, go for the Safeguard, and get our immunity to, special conditions going for 5 turns. Super training for our Chandelure. We put a good amount into the 2 defenses. We want him on the more defensive side. We drop the remainder into mostly special attack and a little bit into the HP as well. Try to give him a little bit more life that way. The next Pokemon on the team is going to be also from my Kalos team. Nope, from my Unova team, actually. Much like Witwicky. We have Irwin, the Crocodile. He is a brave Pokemon, and I really like this nature. It is an increase to the attack stat while lowering speed, so it's not the best. Something that would drop the special attack, such as Adamant, would be probably better. But this is what he was born with and caught with when I got him back in the desert in the Unova region. So it's what he has. And he has that nice Moxie ability. If he gets a KO on the opposing Pokemon, he will gain an attack boost after getting the KO, making him hit a little bit harder on the following turns. And to make sure he hits even harder, he's holding Machamp's Muscle Band this week. It's going to improve the power of all of his physical attacks by 10%, I believe it is. And as you'll see, he has nothing but physical attacks. Crunch and Earthquake are on there both for stab. Earthquake is just there for sheer power. Crunch could lower the defense of the target. Not very often, but it could happen. Rock Slide is on there to possibly get some flinching, plus it's going to be super effective against his weakness of Ice. And Bug, I'm trying to think what else he's weak to that Rock would be super effective against. But anyway, Rock Slide is pretty powerful and could flinch if he outspeeds. And a good way to try to get him to outspeed would be that low sweep attack. I was going to have him use Dragon Claw for the week, but I thought he can actually get some speed control on the opponent using low sweep. It's a fighting type move that isn't super crazy powerful. I believe it's 65 power, but it always drops the speed stat of the target once we hit with it. For the super training for our Crocodile, we've maxed out the attack stat, put a good amount into both speed and defense, trying to give him a little bit more defensive that way. He doesn't have the best special defense, as you'll see, but hopefully we can get some nice struggle bugs off with our Ninjask and lower the special attack of the opponent. The third Pokemon that's been previously used and coming back right now for the week is Fluffy the Clefable. She is a sassy Pokemon, increasing her special defense and lowering the speed stat. The cute charm ability, if an enemy Pokemon physically contacts against her and has the opposite gender, so if they're male, there's a chance they can become infatuated, therefore missing some attacks in following turns. And I've never seen this play out, but I'm curious, if the male Pokemon does get infatuated, And if we rotate Fluffy to one of the rear spots, will they still be infatuated, or is the fact that she's not in the active spot going to, counteract that? I don't know. Maybe we're going to see. You'll see that she's holding the Lumberry just in case they try to get a status condition, and we haven't gotten the safeguard up yet for our Chandelure. And the moveset starts with a nice stab Dazzling Gleam. It'll be super effective against a couple interesting types like Dark and Dragon. Thunder Wave will be there for speed control and possibly causing the opponent to be paralyzed and losing a turn. And we also have Reflect. She's going to increase the physical defense on our side. It's going to work well with our Totodile, whose Assault Vest helps his special defense. Fluffy can help improve the physical defense. And for a little bit of HP recovery, we do have Moonlight. Now it's interesting, this is a move that a Clefable can't learn. She learned it as a Clefairy before I evolved her up. And you'd think that they could learn Moonlight based on how they're, focused around the moon and stuff, but I don't know. Regardless, it is a nice HP recovery move, and we're going to be able to keep her going a little bit stronger with that. For her super training, we max out her physical defense quite nicely, getting up to 238. We dropped a little bit into special defense to even that up with her physical defense. Put the most of the remainder of the super training into HP and drop the remainder into special attack. Try to get a little bit more power off with that Dazzling Gleam. The final Pokemon for the team this week is going to be our Musharna Sailor. She is a relaxed Pokemon which increases her defense and lowers her speed. That is a perfect nature for a Pokemon like this. Get a little bit more on the defensive side, and they're not really fast anyway, so you're not losing out too much by having a lowered speed stat. Synchronize is the ability. If the opponent does connect against her with a status condition, we can synchronize that right back onto them. The downside is a lot of times you're going to find poison types hit you with Toxic, or fire types hit you with a Will-O-Wisp. You're not going to synchronize that back on because of course those types are immune to their own status effects like that. But she has the leftovers to heal up a little bit between each turn, because she could be taking some hits. And we see the moveset begins with Psychic Attack. Pretty nice stab attack. It's going to focus on targeting the special side. I do sometimes go with Psyshock for Sailor here, but I decided let's just go with the more powerful Psychic and possibly lower the special defense, which is the secondary effect of Psychic. And the next three moves, I've mentioned this many times before every time I bring Sailor, these are moves that she cannot relearn as a Musharna because she is a Stone Evolution Pokemon. Only Muna or Munna, still don't know how to pronounce it, only they can learn these moves of Yawn, Nightmare, and Moonlight. Yawn and Nightmare, of course, go hand in hand. If we can yawn the opponent to sleep, we can then hit them with a Nightmare, and we're going to drain a little HP at the end of each turn. I think it's 25% of their HP gets taken away. But chances are the opponent is going to rotate out, so we might not really be able to make much use of Nightmare for this final rotation battle. But on the off chance that we've got them down to their last Pokemon, or maybe we can yawn all of the opponents to sleep, we can then freely Nightmare whichever one we want. And just like our Clefable, our Musharna has Moonlight, and again that's a move she can't relearn, so we're going to be able to heal back a little bit more HP in addition to that leftovers. For the super training for Musharna, we have maxed out the special defense and put a lot into the physical defense. Both are at 260 right now at level 100. The remainder of the super training went into the HP just to get a little bit more life on our Musharna that way. So this is the team for the final week of the Omega Ruby Rotation Battles in the free battle in battle spot. The battles will be going up tomorrow on the channel. I hope you come back and check them out and see how well we do. See if we can get 2 final wins for our Totodile and our Ninjask, Snapper and Burrow, and see if we can round out these rotation battles with some nice, easy victories. Well, I don't want to say easy victories. I want to say nice, epic victories. We want these to be as cool as we can to round out the final week of the rotation battles. So as for today, feel free to leave me a comment down below. Let me know what you think of the team I've assembled for this week for my collection. If you have any suggestions for improved movesets or strategies, feel free to leave them as well, because I'm looking forward to some feedback and some interaction. See if I can improve these guys for later times when we take them into rotation battles, or any battles, I should say, online. With that, I want to say thank you for checking out the Team Builder, and I hope I'll see you back here tomorrow for the battles as they get underway. With all that, I'm going to sign off now. Professor Chaz here saying, I'll catch you next time.